Hi guys, my name is Rose Darensberg, and I would like to tell you a little bit about my culture immersion experience. And it actually happened this summer at a spot where I bartend at called Jamaica Vibes. I was asked to bartend during Spanish night. Now, I've never really partied with Spanish people before, so this cultural immersion experience was definitely one to remember, and I hope you guys enjoy my presentation.
The chosen few.
Well, did I have any biases or assumptions before? I would have to say yes to the assumptions, no to the bias. No to the bias because where I'm from in New Jersey, permanent New Jersey, there's not a lot of Black and Latino people as there is, but the ones that are there, we kind of lived in the same areas, we went through some of the same issues. And the area where I am from in New Jersey, whether you have money or not, there are definitely strict divisions. So there was no real bias, but assumptions, yes. I assumed I was going to be making a lot of tequila and making a lot of tequila shots. I assumed that the men were going to be kind of flirty. And there's my boss back there, you guys. Say hi to my boss. Hi. Say hi to my, he's fired me like 5 times. I'm the worst employee ever. Yeah, but yeah, I love this place. But yeah, so I don't have any negative stereotypes or bias against Spanish people. I actually really like the music, and I really like the culture in itself. I just never really partied or, you know, hung out with Spanish people in that capacity. So I figured Spanish night, I was definitely gonna wear something red. And I decided to wear a red top and a pair of like white kind of like cut off sailor shorts. They weren't that short, Dr. Hardy, so don't worry. I arrived here thinking I was going to have time to get ready, but Spanish people get into the party a little bit early. By the time I got here, the party was in full swing. Everybody was already having a good time. Music was jumping. People were dancing. People had already been ordering drinks. People were already eating, you know, talking. And that's unusual because usually when I bartend, which is on Haitian, African, Jamaican nights, the party doesn't usually start until about midnight, maybe 11:30 the earliest. So this was definitely something different that I was not expecting. Another thing that I noticed when I initially kind of came was there were a lot of older people here on this night as well. And under further observation, I noticed that families kind of, you know, come together and they all party together. For instance, there was 3 different parties that were here. One guy was celebrating his mother being cancer-free. Another family, I believe they have the grandmother out here, and you know, she was dancing and she was having a good time. So their party vibe is more of a family vibe as well. So after that, kind of get it, you know, into the swing of things, you know, started making drinks, you know, the music was going and everybody was getting more in tune. I noticed that dancing is kind of the thing that you can do to be noticed, or to be the cool person, or to be the sexy person. Usually when I do bartend on the other nights, you don't necessarily get a lot of the dancing, not from the men, but you don't get a lot of the dancing. It's more of what you have on, how many drinks you can buy, or your previous cool status. It's not like that on Spanish night. On Spanish night, it's like the person who can dance the best is the coolest person in the room. So you definitely have to come ready to party. Another thing I noticed, women do the choosing, and it's usually the guys that could dance the best. It's not the guy that that necessarily showed up in the nicest car or had the biggest jewelry, but it was the guy who was cutting up on the rug the whole night. Women would go and they would choose the good dancers, and they would come buy them a drink. And that's another reason why I really chose to talk about this experience, is because being behind the bar, although people watch you, this gives you a chance to kind of observe people, when they're not looking. And at a bar, people drink, so they're a little bit more vulnerable. So just kind of observing their mating habits was something that stood out to me. And yeah, Spanish guys that can dance, you got it. So one of the assumptions that I mentioned earlier about the tequila, like, you guys, it did happen. We ran out of tequila. Like, it's not even a joke. I did a lot of tequila shots. I made a lot of the Caribbean style drinks. I opened up a lot of imported beers. So a lot of the assumptions that I had as far as the type of alcohol that I was expecting to make, that was actually true. So yeah, that kind of surprised me. So tequila is a main drink of choice at the Spanish function that I went to, and from previous experience, just from talking to people and just kind of seeing what I've already saw, tequila tends to be the drink of choice. I was just telling a friend earlier, tequila to Spanish men, I guess it's like Hennessy to black men. Don't put that. So yeah, so that was it about the event. I wind up getting tipped very well. They really enjoyed me. I don't think that they had any bias towards me because the bartender usually on that night is also a black female. So I don't think that they had any bias as far as my race. I do think that whenever there is a new bartender, especially when there's patrons that come often, there is a level of judgment because everybody likes a good bartender. And when you have a new one in a familiar space, it can definitely be a little bit intimidating. You might have some patrons that have complicated drink orders. A lot of the times they'll, like tag one of their friends and say, hey, I bet the bartender can't make this, and then they'll come ask you to make some complicated drink. And when you do it, they're pretty surprised. So I was tipped very well. Like I said before, I believe that they took to me very well. I was charming them with my Spanish, my hola and my C's and my como te llamas, all that good stuff. But yeah, I had a really good experience, and I think they wouldn't mind if I came back and bartended again for the Spanish night. Well, do I have any new generated biases or assumptions? I would have to say no to the new biases and assumptions, but I will have to say that it's going to be hard to prove to me that Spanish people don't like tequila in the future. That's like embedded into my head now. And that's only because it was a stereotype that just so happened to be confirmed the night that I was doing Spanish night. We ran out of the tequila. But this just makes me love Spanish people even more. Not even just loving just their food, but the music. The fact that they're family oriented and that they could party with their mothers and they, could be so kind and, still kind of have a really, really, really good time. I really do appreciate that, and I really do enjoy that, and I enjoy the experience that I had working with Spanish people. I just want to touch quickly into some social work implications because that's what I like to do. I will say that with recent legislative kind of battles going on right now, there is a crisis, and you do have a lot of Spanish families, whether they are immigrants, whether they were born here or not, you have a lot of those families that are affected by what is currently going on. And I do believe that all social workers should be aware of the needs of this population, not only because they're a growing population, but because they're part of the human population. And spreading loving kindness always starts with knowledge of that culture. So I really enjoyed making this video. The man behind the scenes, his name is Trueheart, and he's a legend out here in Fayetteville. I'm sure you've seen his work. He does a lot of promotional videos, and he helped me out today, and I really, really appreciate this opportunity.
I'm gonna be a star! Oh my god!
Back in the mirror, wear glasses. Come on out.
That's just some hate.
Come on out.
That's just mean. Real mean. But hello, my name is Rochelle, and this lovely lady is the best. I'm telling you, I would definitely recommend her to work anywhere. And she speaks Spanish so well. Yeah, but reality, she's the best. Bye! Gotta go home and do that homework.